Each lesson has a detailed lesson plan that includes instructions for games and activities, discussion question and answers, and facilitator tips. The lesson plans are designed so that you could use it as a script. It has all of the information that you'd need to complete the entire lesson. The lesson plan is available as a guide, but you can make it your own. As you get further into the semester, you'll know your students and site better and feel more comfortable making edits. Let's look through each part of the lesson plan together now. The first page in every lesson plan is the summary page. The example shown on the screen is Unit 1, Lesson 5, titled Breakfast for Champions. On each summary page, you'll see a lesson outline and a list of materials needed for the lesson. Each lesson also has a learning objective, what we hope students will learn, and a key message, a kid-friendly summary of the lesson. Each lesson starts with an introduction. Greet the students and welcome them back to N.E.A.T each week. Next are the Power Minutes. This is an optional active warm-up. Some students have a lot of energy when they come into the N.E.A.T lessons. Maybe they were just on the playground or playing in the gym before N.E.A.T. It may be hard for them to transition to a calmer N.E.A.T activity. Power Minutes are designed to allow students to get their wiggles out to improve attention and reduce misbehavior during the lesson. You can have students run a few laps around the gym, free dance for a few minutes, or play one quick round of a simple gym game. If you find that your students have a hard time calming down and are not engaged in the lesson after the Power Minutes, you can choose to skip the Power Minutes and just jump right into the discussion. The main teaching part of the lesson is in the Food for Thought discussion section. This is a guided discussion about a specific health topic. This section of the lesson plan could be read as a script. The questions or talking points are listed in bold bullet points. If it's a question, the answer is listed as well. The Food for Thought section starts with asking students about last week's lesson, then moves on to the topic of the day. There are several discussion questions and/or talking points included in the Food for Thought section. You can use this as a guide. You can decide to ask all of the questions or just to ask a few. If students grasp the concept or seem bored with the discussion, feel free to skip some of the questions to shorten the Food for Thought section and move on to the lesson activity. The Food for Thought section will transition right into the lesson activity. Each lesson has a different activity. The activity is always something that ties into the key message of the Food for Thought section and gives students a chance to participate in an activity firsthand. Activities could include STEM challenges, crafts, or read-alouds, like in our example Lesson 5 here. The list of materials needed specifically for the activity are included in the lesson plan. Then detailed directions are listed. There are notes for you as the educator written in normal font. Anything that you would need to say out loud to students is listed in bold. Sometimes there are discussion questions or activity summaries that help the students connect the activity with the key health message that they learned about in the Food for Thought section. We've gotten feedback over the years that students enjoy hands-on activities. We want them to enjoy N.E.A.T and associate learning about health as a positive experience, so we've included different kinds of hands-on activities in the N.E.A.T curriculum. One of students' favorite lesson activities is the taste tests. These taste tests will happen 3 times during the semester. They're designed to reintroduce students to nutritious foods that are accessible and may be available to them. This semester, students will be tasting whole grain cereal, a vegetable and protein snack like carrots and hummus, and fresh, frozen, or canned fruit. Taste tests are not snacks. They're only a few bites. For example, 2 to 3 strawberries or a small handful of cereal. The point of the taste test is to help students build their taste preferences for nutritious foods. Research tells us that people who actually enjoy the taste of fruits, vegetables, and other nutritious foods are more likely to actually eat those foods. It makes sense, right? But picky eating is such a barrier for many students. Taste tests are one tool to help work against that. The site directors will purchase the taste test ingredients. As a N.E.A.T educator, you are not responsible for purchasing taste test ingredients. Work with the site staff to follow any food service procedures that they have, such as washing hands before and after eating, and making sure everyone is seated the entire time they are eating. This makes sure that you're following all necessary rules and keeping students safe. When you're done with the taste test, help tidy up. Make sure all food is properly disposed of so it doesn't attract bugs. If there were any spills or messes, let a staff member know and either ask for their help or ask for cleaning supplies to clean up yourself. The N.E.A.T program has 2 taste test rules. Educators should remind students of both rules at the beginning of each taste test. If students forget these rules throughout the taste test, gently remind them. The rules are, number 1, students are not forced to participate. Taste tests should be a positive, enjoyable experience and help students build a positive relationship with nutritious foods. If a student is hesitant, don't force them to eat the food. Making students just take one bite or just try it usually makes students more resistant to tasting the food. Instead, serve every student a portion of the taste test. Let them examine it on their own terms. If a student does not want to eat the taste test, they can look, touch, or smell the food. These activities raise their curiosity about the food and may lead to them tasting it. The educator and other adults should also participate in the taste test if they'd like. You can model eating the food and narrating your own positive thoughts about the food. You can say things like, "Oh wow, my carrot is very crunchy. Are yours crunchy too? My mango is very flavorful. It's bright and fruity and soft. It's juicier than a banana and softer than an apple. My sugar snap pea has 4 peas inside. How many are in yours? Can you open it up to see?" Sometimes after seeing the food served to them, examining it, and watching other students and staff enjoy the taste test, even students who are hesitant at first will decide to try the taste test, but it should always be their decision. The second taste test rule is don't yuck my yum. If a student does choose to taste the food, they should only share their positive thoughts about the taste test. Students do not have to enjoy the food. We all like different things, and that's a good thing. It makes us unique. However, if a student decides that they don't like the taste test, they should keep their negative thoughts in their head and not share them out loud. This applies to the smell, appearance, or taste of the food. For example, students should not say, "Ew, that's disgusting," or "that smells," or make a yucky facial expression. These thoughts and comments should stay in their head only. Every unit of N.E.A.T curriculum starts and ends with student surveys. Lesson 1 includes the pre-survey, and Lesson 12 includes the post-survey. Surveys are short, front and back worksheets that ask students about their health knowledge, behaviors, and attitudes. There are 2 versions of the surveys, one for grades kindergarten through 2nd grade, and another for grades 3rd through 5th. Every student who participates in the N.E.A.T lessons should complete a pre- and post-survey every semester. Educators should read the questions out loud to the group of students and help clarify questions if needed. However, educators should not influence students' answers. Students should be encouraged to do their best on the surveys and to keep their eyes on their own paper. They shouldn't feel like the surveys are a test or that there are right and wrong answers. After you have your students complete the pre- and post surveys, work with your site director to make a plan for submitting the completed surveys. You can take the paper copies and drop them off at the Knox County Health Department anytime, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Your site director can scan them and email them to me, or if you have access to a scanner or a fax machine on campus, you can scan or fax the surveys directly to me. Every lesson ends with a physical activity game that gives students an opportunity to get up and get moving. The games are simple, common gym games for the most part. Some of them are themed to match the key message of the lesson, and some are just fun ways to be active. Again, we want students to enjoy being active. We want them to find games and activities that are a good fit for them. Give the game in the lesson plan a try. Play a round or 2. If the students don't like it, feel free to move on to a different gym game to finish out your time in N.E.A.T. Some sites have different rules about what games are allowed in the gym. Some don't allow dodgeball or certain games that can get too rough. Always check in with site staff to make sure that the game you are planning to play is allowed and can be played safely with the space available. The equipment needed for each game is listed in the lesson plan. Several of the games use the same pieces of equipment. For example, the cones used in Lesson 5's game are also used in Lessons 7, 9, 10, and 2. All 5 lessons use the same set of cones. Make sure you tidy up after each N.E.A.T lesson and keep track of the N.E.A.T materials from previous lessons. The lesson plan includes notes for the educators. This is anything that you might need to know in advance, like how to set up the game, the goal of the game, or other tips. There are directions for the game that are written as a script. You could read those directly to the students and they should be able to understand how to play. Play the N.E.A.T game as long as time allows and as long as students are still interested. Wrap up the N.E.A.T lesson by reviewing what you learned that day. Each lesson has a key message. This is a simple kid-friendly statement about the health topic that was covered in N.E.A.T. Read the key message out loud and have the students repeat it back to you. Having students repeat the key message back to you is a great way to help them remember it. All of the lesson materials and supplies are provided by the N.E.A.T program. The after-school program already has their materials. As a N.E.A.T educator, you won't need to bring or prepare any materials before you get to the site. The N.E.A.T lesson materials are all organized in a red bag that contains all of the physical materials that you'll need for the lessons. Inside the larger red bag are small cleared zippered pouches. For the lessons that use more than one item, everything you'll need for that lesson is grouped into one pouch. Some of the larger equipment like dodgeballs, cones, bean bags, and mixing bowls won't fit into the pouches, but they'll be easy to identify in the red bag. You can look through the materials and find what is needed for each week's lesson. Everything should be easy to find and labeled. Make sure to put the lesson materials back in the N.E.A.T bag after each lesson. Some of the items will be used again in future lessons. At the end of the semester, anything that can be reused like crayons, books, or gym equipment can be given to the after-school program to keep and use however they see fit. The N.E.A.T program also provides each site with a large bag of prizes for students. Our hope is that these prizes would be used as student rewards instead of candy or other sweet food-based rewards. The prizes can be used anytime throughout the semester to reward students for answering the question, participating in activities, having positive attitudes, or winning games. If you need help finding the best way to distribute prizes, ask your site staff to help. If your program runs out of prizes, email me for more.